Master Chief is one of the most recognizable characters in gaming history, but since his Xbox debut over 20 years ago, he remains a stranger in a strange land when it comes to live action. Master Chief is finally crash landing on a whole new medium as the star of the Halo series on Paramount+. Den of Geek presents Halo: A New Frontier, presented in paid partnership with Paramount+. Kiki Wolfkill, executive producer and head of Halo Transmedia at Game Studio 343 Industries, the studio in charge of making Halo games, told Den of Geek that past live-action TV ads and trailers helped distill a Halo message, but the scope and scale of this TV series is exponentially bigger. The TV series is set in the Silver Timeline, outside of the established continuity in the games, but also includes elements and underlying context from the game canon. For example, the Fall of Reach, a major battle that directly sets up how the heroes discover the titular Halo ring, takes place before the original game. But it hasn't yet happened on the show when we first meet Master Chief. That mix of old and new is showcased in the cast and setup of the story. Humanity in the 26th century is under threat from the Covenant, an alien empire ruled by religious zealots. But there's also trouble brewing at home between the Earth-based United Nations Space Command and its outer colonies. It's this threat of war that leads scientist Dr. Catherine Halsey, played by Natasha McElhone, to create the top-secret Spartan program that created enhanced super soldier Master Chief John 117. As in the games, Master Chief, played by Pablo Schreiber, and his AI partner Cortana, played by Jen Taylor, headline the story. But along the way, we'll also meet shrewd teenage colonist Quan Ha, a new character portrayed by Yaren Ha, Bokeem Woodbine Soren 066, a Spartan who's only previously appeared in Halo Evolutions, and McKee, played by Charlie Murphy, a human orphan who was raised by the Covenant and now hates humanity as much as they do. Casting a known actor in the role of Master Chief is a big risk. Master Chief has remained faceless for 20 years for a reason. He represents the player. His identity isn't as important as how stepping into his armor makes the player feel. But by necessity of the medium, the protagonist of a TV series needs to be more fully fleshed out. For showrunner Stephen Kane, this TV series was a chance to uncover secrets about the Chief's past that had never truly been explored in the games. The first season explores John's character by approaching John discovering himself. Kane told Den of Geek, "He is a man dedicated to honor, integrity, courage, and serving humanity. But he isn't fully formed out, at least in our description of him. He's not fully aware of himself as a human being." The Silver Timeline's chief will interact with an artifact that digs up buried memories from his childhood, which leads him on a quest to try to discover his own history. If you know the canon, you know the history of how he became a Spartan. And it's not a pretty history. As the voice of Cortana for over 2 decades, Jen Taylor is in a unique position among the show's actors. She sees better than anyone else in the cast how the show is taking the Halo story in new directions, both similar to and different from the games. "The writers were always asking me, 'Does this feel right to you?' Taylor says of the process of bringing Cortana to the TV series. That felt really respectful to me, and if there was a no, I could say, 'Could we talk about this? Because this feels weird.' People were marvelous about it. Cortana often travels with and helps Chief, but she's also her own person, with her own motivations. What she wants shifts greatly throughout the season," Taylor told Den of Geek. "It's so fascinating because she's a computer, right? So she has more knowledge just in the instant we first meet her than any human does. So how to carry that around is pretty remarkable. She wants to be of service. That's really what she wants to be." Taylor has enjoyed watching Cortana evolve over the last 20 years and is excited to see that evolution continue in a new medium. The beauty of Halo's Silver Timeline is that it gives the show a chance to revisit things Halo fans may know a lot about, such as the Spartan program or the Covenant, from a different perspective. Halo's Spartans, military-owned, physically augmented, indoctrinated, and robbed of their childhood, have fueled the game with a mix of butt-kicking action and glimmers of empathy. The series' focus on Master Chief as a person is a chance to sharpen that concept to a point. Meanwhile, new characters like McKee give new insight into the Covenant. Halo is now streaming exclusively on Paramount+.